Hello, everybody, and welcome to another
Tier list
unmonkey-related video. This time, I'm covering my other favorite video game franchise. This one, I've basically played all the games, and that's Halo. Halo is iconic. Everybody knows it's iconic. It was one of those revolutionary type of FPS console games that kind of broke into the mainstream, whereas other ones were maybe a bit more abstract for a while until they broke through, like Call of Duty. Halo was a trendsetter back in the day, back in the Bungie days, and everyone's excited for the new release coming out, including myself. It's going to be coming out in November of this year, and that's Halo Infinite. However, it is not out yet, so this time, this video, it will just be a leading up to tier list of all the other Halo games. Okay, so here we find ourselves. So straight off the bat, you have Halo Combat Evolved. This one came out in 2001, 20 years ago to the release, and this one is extremely iconic. It's going easily in S tier. This was the video game that made the world fall in love with Halo. Granted, there was more and more of a build-up and hype with 2 and 3. However, it wouldn't have been possible without this first game. The amount of changes that happened before its release 2 is insane. Like it originally was going to be one of those kind of strategy video games where you control like swaths of army, and then they were like, let's make it a third person where you just play as an individual protagonist, and then it became first person. So crazy, man. And everybody talks about it. The second level also was one of those things that kind of blows your mind when you see it for the first time. So regardless, it easily finds itself at S tier. Easily. And next you have Halo 2. Halo 2, its story is iconic. However, the graphics, I feel like, were literally a downgrade from the first one. I don't know if it was the texture or something, but it just didn't mix well with me. And plus the gameplay too was a little too, again, how much can I say when it is clearly an improvement from the first one, but it was also a downgrade in other aspects or something, right? I don't know. Either way, Halo 2 for me personally is A tier. I understand people being mad at that, but dig for what it is. Next you have Halo 3. Halo 3 is an easy S tier. Halo 3 is peak Halo, so for all those Halo Reach lovers, whatever. You guys are wannabes. No. Okay, I'm not starting to fight, but Halo, yeah. Halo 3. Halo 3, that's all I gotta say. It's iconic. The lighting is beautiful. The general graphics of everything except for the Marines' faces were amazing. Lord Hood, God bless his soul. I mean, you know, it's unfortunate what time has done to him, right? Or even just at the time of a release, there were other video games that looked a lot better, but either way, it was just a stunning game. I mean, the story, while not as complex as Halo 2, left some people disappointed. Me personally, I think it did an amazing job at doing something that most trilogies are really bad at, and that's concluding a story that you have built up. An obvious example is the original Star Wars trilogy. The first game kind of set everything up. It was its own contained story. The second one kind of leaves off on a cliffhanger and is like the most hype of like building everything up and preparing for a conclusion. It like leaves in a to be continued state. And then the last one takes everything that you've been building up to and concludes it in a way that feels like a combination of cathartic and a goodbye and all these kind of swelling emotions, and just leaves you with this send-off of like, it was a hell of a ride, see you guys later, that kind of a thing. So next, you have a Halo 3 prequel. Kind of, you know, it's taking place at the same time as Halo 2, but now we're following a different character. You have Halo 3 ODST. Halo 3 ODST, in my opinion, is A tier. I love the story. It's a lot smaller, more contained, right? Everybody knows this. It wasn't meant to contest with the giants, but the music, of course, is gorgeous. That's probably one of the best parts of it. And then the story was also really good. And yeah, and then Firefight was fun. As everybody else says, it was made better with Halo Reach, and then Halo 5 did its own thing, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Following that, you have Halo Wars. This was done by a different company, and it was done, I think, to a pretty good success. I'm gonna put it at B. It's not my medium of game. I prefer the Halo FPS, but still, the story was shallow. It's still a solid inclusion, especially when you think of the risk of introducing new companies to things and kind of that branching out idea of this being a universe. In that regard, I think they did a really good job. And of course, the cutscene graphics are gorgeous. Now, following that, you have the last Bungie game, and that is a prequel to everything thus far. I mean, maybe Halo Wars was before this, but either way, you have Halo Reach. Halo Reach, to me, is A tier. I kind of couldn't get over the weird graphics of the black undersuit. It kind of looked rubbery compared to Halo 3's battle armor that looked more like metal and just kind of grittier. I mean, again, people are going to disagree with me on this, but either way, I had the most fun playing Invasion. I think like maybe equal to or a bit more fun than the years that I'd spent playing Halo 3's multiplayer. All in all, I think the story is kind of like Majora Mask-esque, where people love Halo Reach more than Halo 3 for that reason. It's a bit darker, right? Either way, I think it is a beautiful game. It's far above so many other games. So like just the entire library of games that exist in the universe, I feel like the Halo franchise is incredible, and Halo Reach is, you know, a top contender of one of the best games ever made, but not better than Halo 3, not to me at least. Okay, so now you have 343's first official game, right? Not to count their remake of Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, because that was kind of done by another studio, kind of. Like, I know that it was under their label, but still. You have Halo 4. Halo 4 continues Halo 3 storyline with Master Chief. It's very problematic. There are people that love it and whatever for the story. For me, I think the story was great up until the Didact shows up. Multiplayer, I didn't feel as held back as other people did. But still, I'm going to put Halo 4 at B. I think it's solid. It is not a bad game. The textures also were worse than Halo Reach for some reason, even though it came out later. But that's just technical issues with the fact that it was playing on the Xbox 360. So it still had the same amount of free space as Halo Reach had. But they just tried to use it differently by adding more textures to make it look newer, right? So now, this probably doesn't go in chronological order, but I figured I would just throw all of these guys in this section before concluding with the list, and that's these mini games, right? These mobile games. I'm gonna pop them in Never Played. And then Fireteam Raven, I can't tell you if it came out after Halo Wars 2. I think it might have, but I don't want to put it as the last thing that I rate because I want to give proper time for the other two guys. Fireteam Raven is fun, and I did play it. I went to an arcade, like different arcades actually, and had a great time. Halo Fireteam Raven is a solid arcade game. I feel like it would kind of be bad to be putting it next to the other two, so I'm going to put it in C. It's not bad though. I know that's the lowest rating, but if there is a D, it's not bad. It is a C, right? It's extremely fun, but also extremely limited in what you can do in it. So for that reason, I'm going to put it in C. Now you have Halo 5. Its story is a solid F. It's embarrassing, it's tragic, it's dishonorable. The writer of that story, I'm sure he's not the one who was making all of the decisions, but what he wrote was bad. The direction they took the Halo story with Master Chief was terrible. The marketing was great, but that's not worth destroying the main story in this second trilogy that 343 is creating that they're about to conclude. But with that said, the graphics are incredible. When you're looking at the actual like camera, the POV of the Spartan, and you can see like whatever their futuristic love things look like, it's solid. It's a weird thing to congratulate this game on, but I think they did a really good job with how they showed these weapons. And the SMG, weirdly, it's like a completely different redesign of the original SMG, and I kind of love it. I think it's better than the original. Same goes with the pistols that they made. But either way, Halo 5, it's added mobility. Not the biggest fan of. I love the clamber though. I feel like that always should have been in the Halo games. That was kind of missing. Sprint, it's not gone. It's going to be in Halo Infinite, but it's been toned down than what Halo 5 had. All in all, I think Halo 5, its replayability, its terrible lottery system that they made, I'm going to put Halo 5 as the weakest main console games. That's where it's at. I understand people putting it a bit higher, but that's where it's at for me. And finally, Halo Wars 2. That's the last mainline Halo game to come out until the one that we've been waiting for all these years, right? This came out in 2017, so it's been a while. Halo Wars 2 is a step above Halo Wars. When I originally watched the cutscenes for the story online before playing the game myself, I was not as impressed, but when I actually played the game, it played like a dream. It was Halo Wars, but perfected. Maybe that's a strong term. Actually, no, I don't think so. I think it did an amazing job. I don't play the medium of strategy games, but I absolutely loved Halo Wars 2. Halo Wars 2 honestly goes in A tier. The fact that it was able to impress me so much that I wanted to play it and replay it when I'm literally not into that medium of video game types is incredible. It's what the original Halo did for me. It made me play an FPS for the first time. So in that regard, Halo War 2 deserves to be an A tier. And there you go. That's my list, everybody. I understand that Halo is like art in that everyone has a different interpretation of the same thing, but that one was mine. I can understand a lot of people having the same take as me, and I can understand a lot of people having the complete reverse take as me, where the datedness of the first Halo game is like so strong that they just can't put it in S tier, that kind of a thing, right? But either way, thank you guys so much for spending this time with me, checking out the ranking of one of my favorite video game franchises. And until next time, sleep well, my primates, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.